Hey everybody, I wanted to show you a recipe today because we went to the farmer's market on Saturday and we got the very first of the cherry tomatoes and fresh basil, and because it was screaming summer ingredients, we wanted to show you a hidden gem pizza idea, the cherry tomato margherita pizza. So just last week, in last week's coaching tip, we talked to you about pizza can actually be healthy. And I wanted to show you a homemade pizza because this is such a quick and easy dinner idea, lunch idea. And this pizza is so simple and so insanely good, you're gonna wanna eat it over and over and over. And so the beautiful part about this is you can buy pre-made crusts. And two of the ones that we love to do, this is our all-time favorite. This is just a whole wheat lavash bread from Trader Joe's. It's super thin. It makes a great crispy thin crust pizza. We also picked up this one from a grocery store in Kansas City. And the key is looking at the ingredients. You want the ingredients to be super simple. But here's the best part is I keep these in the freezer. So that way they're ready to go anytime I want. They're not gonna go bad faster than I wanna use them. So all I do is pull it out of the freezer and put it on a baking sheet, and it literally thaws out in the amount of time that it takes the oven to heat up because they're so thin. And so for this recipe, it is so simple. We are just taking cherry tomatoes, fresh basil, some fresh mozzarella, some garlic, some seasonings, and we're gonna turn it into this mouth-watering pizza. So what I did first is I took just a little bit of olive oil, put it in a skillet, and sauteed some cherry tomatoes. Now the recipe calls for about a cup. I had to go a little bit more than that just because. But this is the great thing about the cherry tomatoes. They're going to get juicy and blister and almost pop with juiciness. And that's going to kind of create the flavor and the sauce for this pizza. So our crust is thawed. One extra added bonus of what you could do is you could take a fresh garlic clove, cut it in half, and take that cut side and rub it on your pizza crust. That is just gonna add kind of a little hidden gem of garlic pop to this, totally optional. So then we've got our tomatoes. I just pulled them out. They're nice and warm still. I just pulled them out of the cast iron skillet. So I just sauteed those for about 5-6 minutes and dash of salt and pepper. And so now we're gonna season them. So the recipe calls for about 4 garlic cloves. Yeah, we're gonna do about 6. So add as many garlic cloves as you like it. If you love garlic, go for 6. You could also just use granulated garlic or garlic powder. So I'm just putting them in my garlic press. We're gonna do that. Then we're gonna add some salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes. Now another optional thing that is gonna send the flavor over the top is adding fennel. So I happen to have just fennel seeds. If you could buy ground fennel, you can do that. You could just add the fennel seeds in here. What I did do is I threw about half a teaspoon of the fennel seeds into my little mortar pestle thing and grind those up and throw them in. Like I said, completely optional, but they do send the flavor, and wow, oh, they smell so good. Okay, so before we add that to the pizza crust, we're gonna take about half a cup of fresh mozzarella, and we just bought the little pearl ones. So I chopped them up just a little bit, and then half a cup, well, a third to half a cup of basil, fresh basil, and I just kind of coarsely chopped it. And so you're just gonna stir these two together. Now, one little tip with fresh basil, if you've never heard me say this before, I just went outside to our basil plant, and when you pick your basil, there is a secret to success that I had to learn the hard way. So when you have got your basil plant like this, what you wanna do is you wanna pinch it right before where it's growing next. So if you pinch it off just like that, your basil will continue to flourish and thrive. If you don't do that, if you just go willy-nilly out there picking basil leaves off, your plant is gonna freak out and it's not gonna grow the way you want it to. So thank you to the farmer friend who taught me that trick. So we are going to just take this basil and this mozzarella and spread it out on to our crust. Now the great thing is you can pick whatever you want for pizza crust. You could also use pita breads, the little round kind of pita pocket breads. Those work great as pizza crusts too, if you don't want to make your own. We do have a flatbread crust on Eat Real America that you actually cook in the cast iron skillet that you could also use if you wanted to do that. Okay, so if we've got the oven on 400, we're gonna pop this in for 10 minutes. So I couldn't resist. The other thing that we're gonna put in the oven, because we have the oven on, is we're gonna roast just a can of chickpeas with our go-to garlic, onion, thyme, oregano seasoning, and a little salt and pepper. So we're gonna roast some chickpeas for our salad, and we're gonna cook the pizza for 10 minutes. So we just got the pizza out of the oven. Now, while this pizza was in the oven, and we are smelling it because it makes the house smell like an Italian kitchen, I told Scott, I said, I feel like not enough people make this recipe. And he said, that's exactly why we're doing a hidden gem recipe video. It is going to smell and taste like restaurant quality. You could go to a restaurant and 100% pay a lot of money for this pizza. So now the crust is brown and crispy and the cheese is melted. And then we are just going to, we normally will cut this in about 6 pieces. And so, I want that tomato over here. So then, now you can eat it just like this and be completely satisfied, but you could also take some aged balsamic vinegar and drizzle it. This is a little bit of a thicker balsamic, and you can kind of drizzle that on top. And that's just gonna make it have even more wow factor. So that is the Cherry Tomato Margherita Pizza. We roasted, like I said, chickpeas. We actually ended up roasting these for about 20 minutes. So we are going to sprinkle a few of those on our salad today and have that for lunch. And then that way we can keep those for the next salad and have for dinner too. But I would love for you to check out this pizza because it is so incredibly good and so incredibly easy. So get some summer fresh ingredients and please give it a try and then tell us what you think.